Hey guys, Quinn from Canada. This week's Printables contest is all about keychain tools. So let's take this guy and shrink him down to a keychain. Now this may not seem like a complicated design, but there is a couple hidden features in it. First of all, it is one continuous print with 5 things hidden on the inside. The bubble level that you can see here, and 2 magnets on each side so you can stick it to things. So let's grab a beverage and let's get designing. Alright, so let's create a new file and let's change to our part design workbench right here. Let's create a new body, this icon right here, and let's pick which orientation we want to draw this in. So I think top is just fine. Let's create a new sketch, clicky, select our XY plane, and let's move over right here because we're just going to be drawing in this section right here. Let's use our buddy, the old polyline tool, clicky, and right now let's throw caution to the wind. So let's just draw this shape right here. And when you get to the end point, you want to click on the first point till it goes yellow like this. And you'll know you've done it right when the command just ends. So now let's constrain this guy up. So first of all, let's use our horizontal constraint right here. And I can see this guy already has one, this guy already has one, and this guy does not. So we're going to add one. Next, we're going to add the vertical constraint. This guy right here, clicky. All right, this guy already has one. This guy does not. So we're going to click here. And lastly, let's click on this guy. And this guy has one now. Beautiful. Next, I want to constrain this line right here to this line right here. And the easiest way to do that is by using our constrain point object. Click here. And now either click on this point or click on this point and move until you're yellow on this line. Beautiful. And same thing with one of these 2 points up here. I'll just pick this guy here, go up here, clicky, and we are done with our base shape. So next, we're going to have to add some dimensions. So let's start by adding a horizontal dimension. So this command right here, clicky. Click on them right here, and I want to make this 14 millimeters. Next, I want to make this guy down here 22.6 millimeters. Beautiful. And now let's add some vertical constraints. And next, let's add some vertical distance constraints. So this guy right here, clicky. And the first one I want is this guy here. Let's make him 4.4 millimeters. And the next one, let's go this guy right here. And we'll make him a cool 9 mil. Now let's just zoom in. And of course we can clean these up. So let's put these dimensions into a nicer area so we can read them easier. There, that looks good to me. Maybe move this guy down here. Beautiful. Now let's close this up. And next, let's go into our tree. So click model right over here and click on our sketch. And let's pad this sucker out. So that's this command right here. Click him. And now let's make this pad out 12.6 millimeters. But before we go, I want this symmetric to plane. So make sure that you guys select this guy right here. Very important. Click OK. And now you can see we have our base shape. Rockin'. So let's hit home just to maximize it here. So remember when I told you that there's 4 embedded magnets in this? What I want to draw next is the area for the magnet right here. Because afterwards, what we're going to do is we're going to mirror this across here, which will make another shape like this with our magnet cutout. Then we're going to mirror this again, which will create the same shape on this side with a magnet cutout along with this right here. Thanks to this trick, we're only going to have to draw one cutout and we're going to get 4 times more work. This is how you sneak a coffee break in at work, boys, by working smarter, not harder. So since we drew this guy on top, we're either going to have to work from the front plane, which we can access through here, or you can use your navigation cube right here. So once we're on the front, we're going to have to create a new sketch. Let's click this guy, clicky, and the sketch plane that we want to use, just zoom out till you can see it right there, XZ plane, and we're in our drawing. Beautiful. So now what I want to do is draw the area for my magnet. So now that I'm zoomed in, I want to be able to see this line here because this model is blocking me right now. And to do that, we use this guy right here, the view section, click on him, and there you go. All the stuff in front of my plane just magically disappeared. Now let's select a circle. So now go up here until this line turns yellow. This will auto constrain this to our line. So we're going to clicky. So next, let's give it a diameter right here. Click anywhere on that line till it goes yellow. And now let's make this 8.4. Now my magnets are 8 millimeters in size, but you always want to add that little bit in, just so that they seat in there nicely. The top faces, the 2 flat parts of the magnet, I'm going to make exactly 2 millimeters, which is their thickness. So it will have enough clamp force so that it doesn't rattle around. So we're almost done. So all we need to do is just define the distance from the center of the circle over to our origin point. And you know what? That's pretty easy to do. You can just click on the center of the circle till it goes green like this. And then you could just cheat by clicking the horizontal distance tool. And now all we have to do is set the distance, 14 millimeters. We're not done yet. This may be the shape of our magnet, but we still have to be able to get the magnet in here. At this point, the only way I could get the magnet in is if I'm done printing halfway, in which case that magnet is going to stick out over the top. So when my print head comes through to print the next layer, it's just going to clip it. So we're going to have to make a channel here so that we can drop our magnet into. And in order to do that, we are going to use a construction line to cut the circle. So let's click here in order to change our tools into construction mode. As you can see, they are blue, and I'll click on the create line. Now click anywhere to the left of the circle on this line until it goes yellow and drag it through the circle and make sure the line goes yellow again. Clicky. Now just right click to cancel the command. And now we want to go to our trim edge tool. So clicky on this guy and click on the top part of the circle right here. And when you click on there, it should cut it right back down to that construction line. So now right click, and you know what? We don't need that construction line anymore. It's served its purpose, so we'll just delete it. And now let's go back, click this guy, because we're going to be going back to our trusty polyline tool. Clicky, and go down to this little edge right here, right here, that point of the circle. So we'll click there, we'll go up, clicky, over, click, and go back down till we're at this point right here. And even though the command still hasn't finished, as you can see, we're just going to hit escape to make it go away. So now next, make sure that this has a vertical constraint. So we'll click here and we'll click on this guy right there. It just popped up right here. We'll make sure that this line also has a vertical constraint. So click here. You can see it's there. And as you can see, we already have a horizontal constraint on this guy, so we don't have to add one in. All that's left to do is we just need the height of this channel. So let's give it a vertical distance constraint right here. And click on this line. And we want this to be 4.6 millimeters. Now, check out what happened. If this happened to you, very easy fix. This dot here is not constrained to this line. So we're just going to go to our constraint command right here, constraint to point. Click on that dot. Click on that line. All done, all fully constrained. You might be thinking, why is this channel so much larger? We're at 8.8 millimeters for an 8mm magnet. Well, whenever a slicer slices a circle in a horizontal orientation, it kind of looks like steps. And some of these steps just come up a little higher, so we probably don't have that full range. Second of all, there's a little bit of expansion that can happen or debris that can fall down. So we really want to give ourselves that little bit of extra wiggle room. So now let's close this off. All right, beautiful. So to see our sketch, let's rotate this around. And as you can tell, it is at that front plane. But I want this to be over a little bit this way. So all I have to do is click over here, go to Attachment Editor, and now we want to move this point. So I'm going to click on top, scroll down here so I can see this easier. Now this uses FreeCAD's own directions, not what you see over here, so don't get confused. And I believe it's the Z direction. So if I click Z, see, I can see it going up if I go into the negatives and down if I go into the positives. So if you remember, this edge here is 9 millimeters. So I want this to be 8.2 millimeters. This will give us 0.8 millimeters to the edge or 2.4 nozzle lengths, so a perimeter of 2. You want to keep your magnet as close as you can to the edge because a magnetic field weakens with distance. And now I want to click on Sketch, Pocket right here, and I'm going to make this 2 millimeters, which is the thickness of my magnets. And if you want to know whether this is going the right way or the wrong way, all you have to do is click reverse. If it punches out the bottom, it's going the wrong way. All right, so now that I got these two, I'm just going to click on top here, and I'm going to hit home just to center things up. And this is where our magic happens. Click on pad, click on pocket, and click right here on our multi-transform tool. You'll notice we have our pad and our pocket selected in there, and down here, just right click and go add mirrored transform. It will add a mirror transform on our vertical axis, and now we can right click on here again, add another mirror transform on a horizontal axis. And now click OK and check this out. We have our main body for our key holder or our keychain. We got most of the hard work done, but I don't like this. I don't like how it's different shapes here. Let's kind of fix that. Let's get rid of these lines. And that is stupidly simple. I'm just going to click on multi-transform, and right here where you see refine, change that from false to true. And now click on your body right here, right click, and go recompute object. And then you should see this go all solid. Beautiful. And I'm going to create another sketch. And I want to create a sketch on this plane right here, which would be our right. All right, let's just zoom in nicely and recenter. Just click on this button right here. And now what I want to do is create a cutout for our bubble level. And you know what? We're going to be following the same pattern as before, except we're going to get a little bit sneaky this time. So let's create a new sketch. Clicky. And we want this on that YZ plane. Beauty. Let's make sure we can see everything by using our view select. There we go. And look, we can actually see our little magnet cutouts there. Isn't that awesome? So the magnets are the exact same size as the bubble level. They're 8 millimeters in diameter, but they are longer. So the 2D sketch is going to be exactly the same. The only difference is when we use our circle tool, we want to join that to the very middle. So when we click here, we don't want to click on any of these lines, not this one, not this one. We want to be real careful to click on that middle origin point when we expand it. And since we've been through this before, I'm just going to speed this up. You can go through the chapters and rewind back to the magnet if you have to. So now that we have this in the middle, all we have to do is make a symmetrical pocket so that it cuts into this side and this side at the same time. So let's create a pocket. And since the bubble levels are 35 millimeters, I want to give them a little bit of clearance. So I'm going to say 36.4 millimeters. And I'm going to make this symmetric to plane. So now if you notice, it will cut it out on both sides at the same time. I really want that long coffee break there, boys. So now we really just need our little key holder here. So let's click here on our cube, which is our left side. Make sure it's facing the right way. If you go over here, we've got to make sure the top is here. Let's click on that guy right there and make a new sketch. Click. So now that we're here, I'm going to make a ring holder. So for this, very, very simple. Click over here on our rectangle tool, and I'm going to go down here and go to centered rectangle. This is an awesome addition. Good job, boys. Now I want to click here in the middle. You see that my middle origin point is yellow. That's what I like. And I'm just going to stretch it out to here. And now that I'm here, it's already centered. It's already a rectangle. The only thing I'm missing is some dimensions. So horizontal constraint over here. And I want this to be 10 millimeters. Look, 9.92. That is close. And next, I want to go to my vertical constraint or vertical distance constraint. Click on this line right here. And I want to make this 4.8 millimeters. Beauty. Clean up your measurements if you are inclined to do so. And close this up. So now that I got this, you know what's happening. The good old pad. Let's pad this guy out. And I'm going to make this guy 10 millimeters. That sounds good. It's right on the money. Click OK. Lastly, we'll need a hole here for our keyring. So we'll just click on top. And because I'm OCD, I'll just click it like this. So that top is reading the right way. And I'll click on here. And of course, another sketch. And we will need a circle. I'm going to click on a circle here. Click on this line to make sure it goes yellow. That way we're constrained to the center point. Click here. What should I make the diameter? I'm thinking that it should just be 4 millimeters. Click here, 4 millimeters, enter. And now the last thing, the distance from the center. Now this is really close. So again, I'm just going to click on that middle point and maybe I'll just highlight it to get there and click on my horizontal distance constraint, which will give me a distance. And you know what? It's minus 20 27.96. I'm just going to round that up to minus 28. Now, if you're wondering why this measurement is in the negatives, it's just a matter of where you are. So since I selected it here, it's measuring minus 28 from the origin point. So let's close this up. Let's pocket out our sketch, trusty pocket. And the distance, I'm just going to say, go up to first. And then that will just automatically make it so that it goes up to the first face that it sees, which is this one right here. So now that this thing looks like an ugly USB stick, we're just going to add some flair to this. So first thing I want to do, let's round this guy off. So click here, and we're going to use a fillet right there. Clicky. And for our measurement, let's eyeball this to 4.6. And look at that. That looks pretty good right there. See, it looks a lot less like a USB stick now. Next, let's go for this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. I'm just holding control down while I do this. And this guy, so all the way around. This guy, and now I'm just going to go back to see if I missed one. Oh, Mr. Magnifier, why did you have to betray me like that? And now I'm just going to create a chamfer here. And for this chamfer, I think I'm just going to go 1.2. I like it to be in multiples of 0.4. I can get into that in a different video. But 1.2 is one of my favorite chamfer distances. And now here's a very important tip. See this guy right here? Wherever we have a 90 degree, that is a weak point in any 3D print. So this is the place where it's going to break. So I'm going to add a fillet right here, or a chamfer, whichever one I feel like it. And I'm going to go all the way around here like this. And once I'm all the way around, I'm just going to use a chamfer. And for this chamfer, I think I'm going to go 1.2 again and see how that looks. So last thing is I want to chamfer all the edges here. A chamfer is really nice because it keeps those sharp corners away. You don't want holes in your pockets for your change to fall out of. Click, click, click. And once you have all of them selected, we'll just do another chamfer or another fillet. I'm sorry. Let me know in the comments if anybody here ever gets chamfers and fillets mixed up, or if it's just me. Make it 1.6. So now that I got all this done, I want to create two really big chamfers here and here. And the reason I want these to be pretty big is just to make my level fairly easy to see. So I'm going to click on these two right here. I'm going to add a chamfer right here. And I think for the chamfer, I'm going to go for 2.4. Oh, well, too big. Go back, undo. Let's go 1.6. Beauty. And now if you ever want to add more things to a chamfer command, you could just click on the chamfer right here. Go edit, go around, click add. Now you can click on this guy right there and this guy right there, and you'll see they'll be added to the description. And then when you hit OK, they will pop right up. So now how do I get our model into our slicer engine? Well, that's very simple. Just File, Export. But before we do that, we're going to have to select a body to export. So click here, go File, Export. And you can export in different formats such as STLs and steps and AMF and whatever you want. PrusaSlicer 2.4 supports exporting as a step file, but we're going to export this as a STL for now. So Keychain 3, and it automatically has the word body there. It's just a FreeCAD thing. It's a Jersey thing. So now that this guy is here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice real quick, and I'm going to look down here and make sure we're in a right orientation, because right here you could see that this opens up. If we were in a wrong orientation, we would see that bottom ring at the top. So of course, we're going to need supports for our guy right there, for our lip. But since we're going to be forcing the magnets down here, there's going to be a little bit of pressure. I also want a brim. And now what I want to do is I want to go down here, scroll down, keep going down until I hit this point here where these magnets are open and this bubble level area is open. Right click right here and go add pause. And of course I want a message, insert magnet. There we go. We are all ready to go. Alright guys, that's it. I hope you guys learned something about embedding magnets into your prints, and I hope to see your keychain in a contest. If you want to build one of these yourself, the bubble levels and the magnets are in the description down below. And like always guys, na zdrowie. Yeah.